Welcome to this week's episode of Girls Talk Geek. We decided to go sexy black today. Sexy see-through black. That's our...
Just a little peek.
Although her breastages are like redonk.
First of all, this bra fits me amazingly well.
Obviously.
It feels really good. It's very comfortable. But I definitely dropped a lot of money. And it looks good and it feels good. So anyway, this is a Victoria's Secret push-up bra.
Mine's like the opposite of push-up. Barely underwire. Like, that's it.
It's nice.
Thank you.
My breasts are too oblong for something like that. So speaking of sexy,
I don't need like padding, but just enough so people couldn't tell I was cold. You don't want to worry about where your nips are. You don't want like one way
off to the sides. They're like,
oh,
even if it's just slightly off my OCD, you know?
Like wandering areolae. All right, that's the new hashtag for Girls Talk Geek.
I have a thought. I was thinking about this yesterday when I was on a walk. As technology has changed, so too should school's curriculum. For example, when will I ever need to know is it Pythagorean?
Pythagorean.
Why would I ever need to know that theorem without one of these devices? As long as you can look it up and solve the problem,
Yeah.
I think you should be allowed to have the internet. And guess what? I never am without a calculator. It used to be for us the Encyclopedia
Britannica.
Yes, and the library, but nowadays the library's at your fingertips. Humans haven't evolved as fast as our technology has. Well, look at social media, like the really bizarre things that people do. People use social media to kind of shout into the void. We've all seen this, the cry for help, like, oh, having a kind of a rough day on Facebook. And it's like, what do you want me to do with this information? If I'm really feeling bummed out, that's usually when you start to get, I'm like, hey, what are you doing? And now for people who don't have like that person to talk to, they just use all of the internet.
For me, it's usually to let other people know that,
hey, bad days happen.
Bad days happen, or like, that always makes me feel better to read that other people are having a bad day, like as shitty as that sounds, but like.
You don't do it in a vague cry for help type of way. In the hospital, pray for me, and I'm like, what happened to you? 8 days later after, I'm like, I've been calling you, and I'm like, oh, it's, never mind, you know?
Forget it. Trolling, essentially, stuff like that. It's just people that are miserable and in their house and like
trolls. It's a weird social construct.
There's no accountability, and that's the problem, I think, is that there's no accountability for these things. Because even when I did all my Spirits of Westeros stuff, where I just was making drinks for Game of Thrones, for fun, and people were terrible. Who puts egg whites in a drink? She doesn't know what she's talking about. That's disgusting. I hope you're not paying her. She's a piece of shit.
A lot of people put egg whites in a drink. I think that's disgusting. But
it's not for everybody.
Do it.
Yeah. But technology is good in the sense that it gives us sci-fi, fantasy.
Mystical realism is a genre that I really love. Britt Marling recently created the OA. It takes place on, in this world, but with something a little bit fantastical to it. And so Another Earth was like the first time that I saw her, and the concept is another Earth appears in the sky. And we realized that they had the same history and the same paths until they discovered each other, and that's when things start to go differently. So
you ever watch the show Black Mirror?
Yeah.
So have you seen the one where they implant something in the back of your neck that allows you to recall all of your memories, can bring up other people's reactions and like start overthinking? So it's just the idea of the future and like how we're going to deal with things in the future. Not that the Earth is exactly the same, but it's the idea of sort of where science is taking you and then where that goes from there. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and subscribe on YouTube.
Some handles right here
as they're scrolling. Thanks for tuning in, guys, on this week's Girls Talk Geek. Come together.
This is how I go in for it.
Make that noise too, like
We were talking about math.
Realized like that already.
Yeah. Because I watched Pythagorean theorem. This one isn't on sale, and it's they walk around with their iPad. Well, guys, it's just you and me now. I need something to really keep them.
TA82, which I still have.
My size. Pythagorean. Oh wow! Great rack.
Oh, it's really weird. Well, I'm a dumbass. Oh, that's very true.
So
possible.
this is not how an essay is constructed, you know?